Welcome back, guys. It's time for me to continue answering questions that you guys have sent nicely, ever so nicely, my way for On the Spot. The next question comes to us from Slipnotic666. That's a really cool name. Do you or would you ever collect Dragon Ball Z figures? Probably not. You're going to laugh, but I have never seen a full episode of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, was it GT, Dragon Ball anything. I just have not. It's one of those things where you guys are going to say, hey, if you at least watch a couple episodes, you're going to fall in love with it. And I might. I easily could fall in love with Dragon Ball Z. As it stands right now, I've never watched a Dragon Ball episode, so therefore I probably would not collect any of the figures. Sorry. Next question comes to us from Spot named Spot. Spot says, Spot, who was your favorite Robin and what is your favorite video game? What was your favorite DC animated series and your favorite Spider-Man cartoon? You know what? I'm going to just choose a couple of those because I did say two. So let's say, I'm going to say favorite Robin. My favorite Robin was Dick Grayson, just because he was the first. I don't mind Jason. Jason Todd didn't bother me so much. Tim Drake, I like. And of course, all the other Damians and all the other Robins. But I'm going to say Dick Grayson, just because, and also from a character level too, he's done the most. When you think that he's moved on, he led the Teen Titans, and then he became Nightwing and all the other things. I'm going to say Dick Grayson. What was your favorite DC animated series? I say this, and it's not because it's the best cartoon, but just because it brings back the most memories for me, is either going to be Challenge of the Super Friends or the Ruby Spears I want to say it's like 1985, 86 Superman animated series. Why do I like the Superman animated series from 1986? It doesn't have a lot of great villains in it. In fact, I think they made up a lot of villains for that series. But I love the animation. And I love that it's got the John Williams score at the beginning. It's got the faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. So I really like that. Okay, let's not think of as obscure references. I'm going to also say I really like Justice League. I think that was a great cartoon. I wish they bring back Justice League. I really wish they would. I mean, there's no reason why they can't. I know Bruce Timm is doing other stuff, but throw the fans a bone, Tim. Throw the fans a bone. Next question comes to us from Harley Lover 14. OTS, can you tell use about your recording setup? What's your background? What do you use to edit? And what are your top toy lines of all time? Okay, for my setup, well, I mean, right here, you can't see it, but right here is, I use a, what is it that I use? It's a Sony Handycam, if I'm not mistaken. Backdrop, I use just a felt, I think it's crushed velvet. I just use a velvet background. It's good for absorbing light. I know my light's not spectacular. Editing software, I use this like Roxio. It's very ghetto. I know a lot of other reviewers use much more high-tech equipment, but I go bare bones. I use very basic, generic supplies. Let's just say supplies. And he says, what are your top favorite toy lines of all time? I'm going to say G.I. Joe, Transformers, Visionaries. I'm going old school on this stuff. And Inhumanoids and Mask. Yes. Current stuff, Cult Classics from NECA, Cinema of Fear from from Mezco. I have hiccups right now. But I think for nostalgicness, my favorite toy lines of all time, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Visionaries, Inhumanoids, Mask. Hopefully that answered your question. Next question comes to us from TKD Gamer K. On the spot, have you ever met one of your subs in real life because they could tell by your voice? If not, how would you react if that was to happen? By the way, keep up the great reviews. Thank you very much. I have never met any of my subscribers. Never. I have met people, and then over the course of conversation, I've said to them, oh, by the way, I review, and then therefore they would know me after the fact. I mean, there's a comic book store relatively close, and I got into conversation with the owner there, and I had mentioned to him, oh, I review stuff, and then he checked it out afterwards. But I don't think I've ever had anybody come up and say, oh, that voice, you don't review, do you? And I would say, yes, I do. That's never happened. How would I react? Kind of embarrassed. I'm a shy person, surprisingly. And I've mentioned this on a couple of occasions. I don't review, and the reason why you don't see me on cameras, I review, and I'm not looking to be any sort of celebrity or anything like that. I take nothing away from people that do things on camera, but you know what? I'm not, at the end of the day, out to become a big celebrity or anything like that. So I probably would be caught off guard and probably not embarrassed, but I probably would be caught off guard. So there you go. Next question comes to us from JMan9000 OTS. If you could make a series of collectible figures from any video game that doesn't already have its own series, which would it be? Also, what was your last movie you watched, and what do you think of it? Series of collectible figures from any video game. See, that's hard because I would love to see a Mega Man series of figures, and I know they've come out with figures of Mega Man, but there's been like 4 or 5 different lines from different companies doing Mega Man toys, and they're all different from one another. I'd like to see one consistent toy line. Let's say, okay, for a figure line based on a video game that's never had a series. Never had a series. You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing like a Punch-Out series of figures. A Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, not necessarily even Mike Tyson, but like a Punch-Out series of figures. King Hippo, Glass Joe, all those characters. I think that'd be kind of neat. Even if you had their heads just a little bit bigger and, smaller bodies, I don't know. But like, I would love to see posable versions of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out boxers. Last movie I watched was... I watched Going Down the Road the other day, which is an old movie. It's like from 1971. Don't ask me why I like that. It's a personal favorite of mine. I guess the really last movie that I saw that I haven't seen before was probably, was it Lockout? It was a movie with Guy Pearce, and there's a space station prison, and he's got to go up there to save the president's daughter. Yeah, I know, it's Escape from LA, but in space. I actually really liked that. I didn't mind it too bad. It was a good movie. I don't know if it was called Lockout. It's not Lock Up, because that was with Sylvester Stallone. But I actually liked it. I liked that movie. I also like Lock Up quite a bit too. Hopefully that answers your question, sir. As of course, thank you for sending it my way. Next question comes to us from the Kane sister, Canes sister, Kanesister. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. What is your favorite toy line and video games? Favorite toy line, I would say, of all time is probably G.I. Joe. The original G.I. Joes, man, I had so many of those. Vehicles, you name it. Love those things. And his other question is favorite video games. God of War. I love wrestling games. I love the old school Nintendo games, like some of the Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers 2 is my favorite Nintendo game, one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time. Mega Man, Contra, Punch-Out, DuckTales. I mean, the list could go on. Kirby, I love Kirby games. Next question comes to us from Stormer1012 OTS. What do you like more, Marvel or DC? DC. What is your favorite fighter in Injustice Gods Among Us? I'm going to say Superman. I really like Superman. I think he's well balanced for a fighter. Joker I like, but he's cheap. Joker has a lot of cheap moves. I also really like Green Arrow. I think Green Arrow's got a good arsenal of attacks. Aquaman is good, but Aquaman's really cheap. My favorite, though, to play is generally Superman. And I always usually play him in the New 52 costume, or I'm trying to think of any other figure or any other character I really like playing in that game. I'm just kind of imagining the game screen right now, looking at it. I think female-wise, I really like Wonder Woman. Harley Quinn's not bad, but she's kind of off balance with what abilities she has. Yeah, I'm going to say Superman. Next question comes to us from J Tubby. What was or is your favorite toy line back in the 90s and 80s? Favorite 80s toy line is G.I. Joe. Favorite 90s line? I really like the Star Trek toys from Playmates. I think those were 90s. Those were solid toys. I also like the Earthworm Jim line from the night. I think it was from the 90s as well. Yeah, I think that's right. If not, I apologize. Next question from the mighty Hazmat OTS. If the zombie apocalypse started at this very moment, what 3 things would you do to ensure your survival? I would find a way to mask my heat signature, because I'm sure zombies could feel or sense heat. I'd probably smear myself with zombie fluid, like zombie body debris, so that I smell like a zombie. And I would find certainly a high place to barricade myself in. For example, I probably would like go in and hide myself in like an apartment. I know that's probably the worst place to hide, but I think between the multiple rooms and the elevators, it probably would confuse the heck out of those zombies that I think I would be alright still. Thank you for your question, Mr. The Mighty Hazmat. Next question comes to us from SM Dan20 OTS. Are you going to review McFarlane's Halo Reach and Halo 4 figures? Also, there's a lot of fine mirrors on the market. Are you going to review one? I see what you did there, you silly goose. By the way, that's a cute dog right there. That's a cute dog. I'm probably going to review any Halo figures just because other than going to my friend's house and playing Halo, I've just never really played Halo. I'm not an Xbox fan, so therefore I really have no interest in picking up the figures. I mean, if somebody sent them to me, I would review them, but I don't know. I'm just not. I think I'd be one of those people that if I was to buy one, I would probably buy Master Chief just to have a Master Chief figure, but all the other ones I wouldn't pick up. So the next question comes to us from the Scar12394 OTS. Are you interested in reviewing any SH Monster Arts or Ultra Act figures like Godzilla or Ultraman 2? What is your favorite Godzilla film? I don't really have a favorite Godzilla film. I used to watch Godzilla films and all the time on Sunday mornings. Sunday mornings and Sunday afternoons, I think they used to air them all the time. I used to watch them, but the honest truth is I don't remember any distinct names. I'm just going to say, you know what, how about Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla? Would I ever review figures like Godzilla or Ultraman? Sure, I probably would pick up one if I found one for a good price. Absolutely. Next question comes to us from Boo6464 or BUU6464 OTS. An apocalypse has just started. What 3 to 5 collectibles do you save and why? Well, I kind of already have covered that one, so The only other things I could think of is probably the new puzzle box that I got from the puzzle box maker. I love that. That's such an awesome collectible. You know what? Let's think about collectibles so that it's a little different of an answer. I would say probably the Krusty doll. I know that's kind of silly, the talking Krusty doll, and maybe the Freddy vs. Jason skull and mask from NECA. I probably would save those. How's that? Next question comes to us from PS3 Gamer 886 OTS. Oh, another face question. Next question comes to us from Rosanna Skaggs OTS. How do you pick something to be an extra spot review? Extra spot reviews are just basically going to be reviews that don't fit into the regular review spot. The reason why I created this channel was because with the review spot, I kind of just wanted to keep that for reviews specifically. So things like on the spots. I know I did a meet and greet over there, but like a lot of those holiday themes like spooky spots, Christmas spots, Easter spots, Valentine spots, all those holidays are going to get thrown here. So really this channel is going to be literally extra spots to what I would normally post over there. And the only reason for it is like even in October, if I was to do spooky spots in that channel and have specifically only spooky spots for the month, then that means anything I've picked up over the course of the month that is relatively new has to wait a month for me to finish the spooky spots before I can get to them. So that was really the initial idea as to why I created the second channel, was just so that while you guys can watch spooky spots, you can still watch current videos on the other channel as well. So spooky spots, by the way, will be coming here in October, as well as Christmas spots, so stay tuned for that. Next question comes to us from OTS Mike Lelly. OTS, hey Spa, I'm a huge fan. I have 2 questions for you. I don't see his questions. That's all he actually put. Okay. Next question is from I Am Galvatron. Hey, one of my favorite Transformers. OTS, as a fan of Transformers toys, what are your thoughts on third-party Transformers being produced like companies by Fans Project, TFC Toys, and Market Toys, etc.? It's very gray when it comes to these third-party companies. First of all, I don't know how they can really get away with it. I know they're not using the same name, but on a likeness level, when you produce a third-party, let's say, Predaking, or you produce a third-party Shockwave, or something on those levels, even though it doesn't look like the original toy, it bears enough resemblance to it that I'm surprised that they can actually produce them. Having said that, I think it is a nice idea that they do release them. For example, like, was it the Jump Starters were released as a third-party toy? What are the chances that Hasbro is ever going to release Jump Starters? Or a much larger scale Constructicon set? What are the chances that we're going to get something like that from Hasbro? So it's kind of neat to see companies like this producing other product. Headmasters, Target Masters, I mean, stuff like that is really neat to see finally being released. And it's usually in scale with current toys that we have. How they're able to get away with it, though, that's a little gray. I know somebody can say, well, Spot, it doesn't quite look like the toy. I know that. But in some cases, it looks like it enough that I'm wondering on a legality level if they can actually get away with it. I mean, I'm fine that they release it, and I'd like to pick up things from them, but I'm just a little surprised. Next question comes to us from Fragger432 OTS. How many figures do you have? A lot. I wish I actually had a number for you, but let's just say a lot. Next question comes to us from, what we got here? Pabloa Lopez 2001. Oh, it's about so bad at naming some of these YouTube names. Reading them off, I apologize. He asked, where do your old toys and collectibles go? A lot of the times they go into totes, like a tote, until I find ways that I can put them on display. If not, some older toys that I don't want anymore, I might sell or donate to charities. So they always find homes. Next question comes to us from Timothy Drake. OTS, Iron Man 3 opinions? I did. They post them on Spot's Thought. Also, how excited are you for Man of Steel and the Wolverine movie? Wolverine I'll see, but I'm not super excited to see it. It's one of those things where I'll be like, you know what? If it comes out on DVD and I haven't seen it in theater, I'm not going to be overly upset over it. As for the Man of Steel, I am so excited. As you probably have already could tell from my other answers, I can't think of a movie I've been this excited to see in like for eons. Eons it seems. So I am extremely excited for Man of Steel. Extremely. And with that, Mr. Timothy Drake, I'm actually going to wrap this up here. This has been another part 2 On the Spot. Don't go anywhere, though. Stay tuned. There are more answers heading your way as we have a look at more questions that you guys have sent. So stay tuned for that.